Today on the Ever Onward podcast, we have Codi Galloway. Codi is the state senator for LD 15. She is a small business owner and went into the legislature first as a representative, is now as a state senator. She has been working on several initiatives that really affect our people and our families and our communities. We're excited to have her on to talk about her role as a state senator and what she has coming up for this next session. Codi Galloway. Senator, welcome.
Codi. I always like Codi best.
No, it's great.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you on today.
I'm excited to be here.
How you been?
I've been great. Boise, things are going good. Business is good. Community's good.
I can't wait to catch up. I just was telling you, we've had an active week, and I got a little cold flu bug somewhere. Went to Disneyland.
Oh, did you?
With our grandkids, which was magical. And then went to the World Series Tuesday night, which was not magical. A huge Dodger fan, Codi.
I'm sorry.
They were so flat, and then lost that, and then lost the next game. And anyway, my
Too bad.
Dodgers.
We'll just go back to the Disneyland.
I know.
Disneyland, happy.
Go back to the happy place, right?
I was in California last week, too. I was up in Napa Valley, and it is beautiful right now. Beautiful up there.
Beautiful. It was like 92 degrees when we were down there.
Yeah.
Almost a little too hot. But
yeah, good stuff.
we knew when we got home. It was chilly again. It was... But our fall's been beautiful. Well, so for those, I know you well, and you're doing a great job. It's so nice to have people like you representing us that are our neighbors. You understand this place and our state and our future. But it's nice to have you leading us. But for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm glad you asked. I always think that's the most interesting part. If I'm watching a podcast
Yeah.
and I see someone I don't know,
Like, who is
I
this?
want to hear their story.
Yeah.
I want to know where they came from before I can know where they're going. So I love Boise. I grew up here. My dad and my husband's dad. My dad's a Boise High grad. My husband's father was Bora. So we have deep Boise roots. And I went to Centennial High School. I have 3 kids that have graduated from Centennial High School. I met my husband in junior high. We've had a very happy love story for the last 25 years. And we left the state to go to college. When we came back, we started our family. We started a small business. We bought a house. Back then, you could buy a little starter home for $130,000 and start a small business on an SBA loan for $25,000. So that's what we did. And we have had a wonderful ride here in Boise. It has been a phenomenal place to grow our family, grow our business, and now's kind of the time where you get to a point in life where 3 of the 4 kids have left the house, and I have a little bit of opportunity to go back and work in the community with more effort and intention, and I've enjoyed that as serving as the first in the House of Representatives and now as the District 15 state senator.
So I love when people that represent us are business people. Frankly, it makes a difference for me. I mean, I think it's a small. I believe the economy of the country is, on the shoulders of small business. It really is. If you look at the dollars that flow through everything, it is small business people. And I think there's just always challenges, right? I mean, I'm just thinking of like the challenges we have as small business in the last 2 weeks. It's constant. And it almost are not challenges. Like, in fact,
we have challenges.
I'll
be honest.
I was going to say, I just ran into one of my guys here, Brad Smith. He's an architect that works with us, and I just saw him he was getting his coffee when I walked by, and I said, "How's it going, Brad?" He's like, "Every day's full of opportunities." He says that every day. And what I love about Brad, he's always optimistic, but it's
right.
Opportunities because they're challenges, and it's every day.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you expect them, right?
Yes.
And so
enjoy the
opportunity
It's
to
great.
figure it out. But it's really nice having someone represent us that understands that side of life. So tell us a little bit more about your business.
Right. Well, I'll back up and just people are always a little confused at my resume. So I started as an elementary school teacher before I had children.
I saw that. I didn't know that.
That was a phenomenal few years where I got to teach in the public schools.
What grade did you teach?
I did 2nd grade and 6th grade both. So
that's probably
not
cool.
a lot of difference. Then I did adult education later in my life. Still not a lot of difference. Interesting education. It's all about like relationships with kids and getting them to trust you.
You would have been
same with adults.
Like if you were son or daughter second grade teacher? That would have been awesome.
Oh, I had a
Do you miss it?
Yes, but you know what? I teach every Sunday in my church. I did Cub Scouts with my kids. I coached my daughter in gymnastics. So I'm always teaching. And I think that we all, in business, that's kind of my role in our current business is I coach and mentor our leaders and provide the employee training and management training so that they can be better leaders for our teams. So
that's great.
Anyways, so I digress. But I started as an elementary school teacher. When we had our kids, I stayed home with them until they went to school and loved that time being a stay-at-home mom. When they went back to school, I went back to work, and my husband and I had a couple of small businesses, but one of them was a school. It was adult education. And so we helped people that were returning to the workforce, coming out of prison, or people that were stay-at-home moms that were returning to the workforce, people that needed training to get back in. Oftentimes people had been laid off.
Codi, I didn't know this.
From Micron.
The depth of experience just keeps getting better.
Oh, you know what?
How was that?
It was amazing. Education, Trey Gowdy said this once, and I thought, I'm going to copy him, but he said, education is the closest thing we have to magic. And I would say that 100%. I saw lives change every day with the confidence that adults who had kind of been down on their luck for a little bit, but as they gained confidence in a new skill and the ability to accomplish something, change their lives. And not just their lives, it changes the lives for their families. And it can be generational change, really. So I loved doing that. That was fabulous.
How many years did you do that?
We did that about 10 years.
You did?
Yeah, Leap Fox Learning. We sold the company, and it's since been sold to New Horizons. So still in business, but great time.
Can we pause there for a minute?
Yeah,
I think when you talk about self-esteem and optimism and hope and the ability to have a abundant life, a job is, I mean, relationships are important, but having a job, a meaningful job that you gain satisfaction from and professional interaction from, and then you have a way of making a living, there's nothing more important than that for people.
I agree. I just think that and it is reflected in everything they do, because once they can provide for themselves, they feel like they're a leader in their families. They can be a leader in their community. I mean, I had one person come through that did some great training, some IT training, some certifications, and then he decided he was going to apply to be on the Head Start board for his kid's school. And that's something he would never have done when I first met him. But he came to school, learned to, do some things, felt like he had a little bit of confidence. And then it allowed him not only to be this better dad to these two little girls, but also to reach back into his community and feel like he had some expertise and some willingness to serve on this Head Start board at their school. So
it's amazing. Yeah. And the flip side of that is if you don't have a job and you're struggling, it's very defeating and leads to that hopelessness, right? Where you're like, oh, what am I going to do? And my self-worth, and within the family unit, within the community, within your sphere, it's such a critical thing. So that's cool. Yeah,
that was a great run. We loved doing that. When we sold that business, we bought into Create Spaces. It used to formerly OEC, and it's really my husband and his brother. And I have been very active in politics since about that phase. So I don't do any of the leadership work there, but work with the company in a support role. And
big company. It's one of the so we use them. It's one of the largest office furniture space companies there is in Idaho, right? And do a lot of the big corporate accounts. And I mean, it's a big company.
Yes, and I always tell people, sometimes people say, oh, you do furniture like R.C. Willey, can I come pick out a couch? I'm like, well, we'd love to have you. Come pick out a desk chair instead. But yes, we do commercial accounts.
Once they saw how much this dang commercial furniture costs, they wouldn't say that. It's crazy.
It's fabulous. I would not trade in my Steelcase Leap chair for $1 million. It is.
Well, they're built forever, right? So
really good stuff.
Really good stuff, yeah. So. What brands do you do?
Well, we are a Steelcase dealer, but we have the Boise branch. And then 2 years ago, we bought the Vegas market and Reno market. So we're in Idaho and Nevada right now.
That's great. Yeah. All right. So that's kind of your professional background. And then you have 4 kids?
4 kids. They are the best. All these people, these new families I see. I just got to hold one of my friend's actually she was a volunteer on my campaign, and she had a baby. It's a 5-pound baby I got to go hold this week. Oh, Babies are
Any
the best.
grandkids yet?
No grandkids, but I am crossing my fingers
my
for some
gosh.
marriages and some grandkids soon. My oldest is 23, just graduated from college.
Cody, it is the
So,
best. It
yeah.
like I know when people are grandparents and they show you pictures and you're like,
Yeah.
stop it. I don't
Yeah.
care. I don't want to see this. And then you become one and it's like, oh my goodness, this was undersold to me. This was undersold to
That
me.
makes up for the teenagers, the toddlers, all of the potty training.
We
that
have
stuff,
three, and they're just the very, very, very best. Like our littlest one, she's 1, and she just melts my heart. And then the 2 boys that are 3 and 5.
Okay.
And it's fun. It's awesome. That's cool. That's cool. So then talk about getting into politics. That was probably so. You were a state legislator before in the House. And now the Senate. But what motivated you and how? I mean, that's a leap.
It's a bit of a leap. So I served 1 term in the House, and I've done 1 term in the Senate. And they're 2-year terms each, and they're really fairly equal. Actually, people always think that I'll stay in longer or something, but so I've done 2 short terms.
Well, the reason why is because nationally it is. So nationally, it's a 6-year term for our national senators and 2 for our representatives. But in the state roles, it's just 2 years each.
2 for each of us. Yeah. So I always say I've had the opportunity
You're always
to work
campaigning
in both.
then.
Yes, every 2 years, especially in the district
These
that I
2-year
live in.
terms are crazy, right?
Yes,
because
they are.
you're just getting something done. It's like, oh, I got to start my campaign again, right?
Yeah. And I always tell people too, I'm like, we serve for about 2 or 3 months. So yes, I have served we're a part-time legislative branch here in Idaho. So after 2 years, when I was going to run again, I had really worked about 5 or 6 months in the job. And from my training background, it takes a lot longer to get good at something than 5 months. But I had to go out and say, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. Let's try it again. But back to your question, I guess, was how did I get started? And really, the motivating factor was kind of similar to what I just told you about the student that got an education and kind of felt like he was in a position to give back in the Head Start community in his school. Kids were older and was looking at the next step and realized how blessed I had been to live in this beautiful valley and live the American dream that people want to live. I got to have a little house. I got to be a stay-at-home mom. I got to volunteer in my church. We got to make enough money to pay the bills and not feel like we were destitute. And I started to recognize that things in Boise were changing, and it was harder for people. When I was 21 and moved back here, it was a lot easier for me to do that. And it's still possible now, and I believe that these kids can do it, and they can get a house, and they can start a family, and that is the best choice that they can make. But I thought, I want to make it more appealing and easier for families to live the American dream right here in Boise, to have clean, safe neighborhoods, to have good schools for their kids, to have good jobs, and be able to have a strong community here in Boise. So
that's great. Did you have any mentors or anyone that kind of talked you into it, or how did this go down?
I'm embarrassed to say there was no market research done. There was no reaching out to 10 or 15 people, no polling, none of that. I just felt it on my heart.
That's great.
It came on suddenly and kind of scary, actually. And I remember the first person I told, who was my friend that I go running with every morning. And but I was a little afraid to call even and tell my mom because I thought, what is everyone going to think? Why does she think she can do this? What is she thinking? So honestly, I was super overwhelmed at the idea of doing it. And had I known that I stepped into the most competitive district in Idaho, had I known how much it would cost or what it would do to me, like professionally or in any other way, I probably wouldn't have done it, but I didn't know any better.
Well, it's one of the great dilemmas in society right now is we need good people to run and serve, but it's such a personal sacrifice that you're like, oh man, I like you too much. I don't want you to do this.
Yeah,
right?
It is. You know what though? That's a kind of a product of our society. And I tell people all the time, I'm going to do this for a while. I'm not doing this is not a career. I've had I just walked through my resume. I've done lots of different things and enjoyed each of those. I won't do this forever, and no one should. And everyone should take an opportunity to be part of a campaign or an issue at some point. It will change the way you look at politics. It'll change the way you appreciate the United States of America and the government we have here. everyone should volunteer for a campaign, donate for a campaign. No one should miss that opportunity. It's important.
What's been your biggest surprise getting into politics?
Biggest surprise? Well, let me tell you a wonderful surprise I didn't expect that I've loved, and that is the amount of capacity there is for learning in this job. And as a former educator and teacher, and I love learning, and this has been a phenomenal opportunity for me to ask questions. When I need to know something, people will pick up the phone. We have a great opportunity to, if I want to understand how behavioral health is affecting our elementary schools, I call the superintendent and say, I hear the behaviors are really bad in your elementary schools. What can I do? Where can I see this? Who can I talk to? And he sets me up with the people that are working in the industry every day, and I tour the school, and I have loved being able to follow police along, follow teachers, visit the prisons, and see how people are doing their jobs. It's been great to learn and actually really understand the problems before you jump in and try to solve them.
That's awesome. Do most legislators do that, or do you know?
I love doing it myself, and I always invite a friend along.
Okay.
How's that?
Great. So you really dig in. You want to know the issue. You want to be able to explain it and know it and feel it in your heart and mind, soul, right, before you decide how you're going to vote on it and what it's going to be. Yeah. It's really the circumstances surrounding the legislation that come through are also challenging and really put a lot of pressure on you, right? Because, I stay pretty involved peripherally, and then I'll get calls every once in a while saying, hey, we need you to get involved in this. But it gets pretty, these are big decisions, policy changes, laws made at the state level make a big difference in the everyday Idahoans' lives.
Yeah, it really does. And it's a fabulous opportunity. I guess we go back to where we started with challenges and opportunities, but it's a fabulous opportunity to be able to make a difference. And it's often simple things that really matter and you don't necessarily see. So if you're listening to the radio and you're hearing about what the Idaho legislature is doing and they're crazy this or they're doing that, or those are all headlines and they put those out there on purpose because that's how they make money. But the majority of the good things that are happening are just good. Like I'll give you an example of just a simple business decision that kind of goes back to school and money. And in Idaho, we have given the schools more and more money, and I'm an educator, so I love that, but there's never enough. I'll tell you what, we're just always, they always need more money. And this year we did an interesting piece of legislation. I had visited with our superintendent in West Ada prior and said, hey, I don't do big things. I'm a freshman senator. I do little things. What can I do? How can we help? And he pointed out to me a problem in the code where when they're transporting just small groups of children, they can only move them in big yellow school buses to get reimbursed.
Huh.
Now,
I didn't know that.
A big yellow school bus costs about $6 per kid, per hour or per mile. I'm going to mess up all these numbers. But if they could be authorized to use minivans and transport, because what happens is if we're traveling like a big group of students, obviously we want to put them on a yellow school bus. But if we have a McKinney-Vento homeless kid, or we have a kiddo that is going to special occupational therapy or something, putting them in a minivan is much more affordable. But our law was set up so that they couldn't be reimbursed to do that. So then the school has to spend more money or choose not to be reimbursed. But those are just simple where we change that so that now you can use a minivan. That's going to save the school money. It'll save the state money. No one's kind of having to run through loopholes to get their money reimbursed and stuff. So things like that happen all the time, and those fly under the radar. You never hear about like good decisions that are happening. I love
the like fixing the existing code kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I actually was just thinking of this as you were talking. I'm thinking, I don't know. I used to look it up, but how many laws per year get passed? It's a couple hundred, right?
Yeah. So I think over 1,000 were introduced, about 1,300.
Yeah.
We voted on about half of that, maybe 800, and about just over 300 became law.
Yeah.
So lots of legislation going through.
So you think to yourself, like, you wonder how this government thing gets more complicated over time, but it does, because every year there's 300 new laws, right?
Yeah.
There's and you just pointed out a really great example of one that may clarify or make the existing code better, but there are plenty of other ones that change the code. And I think one of the conceptions of people, because the legislature does get an undeserved bad rap, I think. I really do, because I think if you ever take the time to go down and meet with somebody or an issue comes up, I've called you, an issue in my mind that seemed fairly black and white, you call and say, hey, what's your read on this? And you're usually like very deep into it and say, well, here's this, and here's one side, here's the other side, here's what I'm thinking. Yeah. But most legislators are that way. They're very well informed. They've studied the issues. This isn't like DC where these big bills go through that no one's read. Yeah. They're usually very well debated and thought through. And there's winners and losers with most legislation, though, and I think that's where the battle happens, right? Is what are the downstream consequences of this? What's your take on the quantity of legislation in your time there? It's
a lot for a part-time legislature, especially because we don't have staff. When we're down there, we have like an attaché and I have a wonderful one, but I share her with 3 other people, and she answers the phone and can help with our schedules. But we have very little staff to like actually like research things. So there's a lot. And for example, as I'm looking at stuff, sometimes I realize there's a problem here, but I don't have time to fix it. We have to vote on this budget in the next 3 weeks. And so then I table that, and I've done a deep dive into several things. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of language in the bill that says we need this report, or to kind of let people know. But oftentimes you'll find things and you don't have the time nor the staff to correct it right away, but it's getting corrected. I don't lose those things, but it is hard. It's hard to get through that much stuff.
Yeah, because like you said, so 1,300. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of, and then talk a little bit about the process, because I love hearing this. Like, so when a bill gets introduced, then someone sponsors that bill, right? Has to go through committee, and that's the point where the committees are relatively powerful, because the chairperson of the committee can just stick it in a drawer, right?
They can. I will say, overall, I have had great experience with the committee chairman. And in general, they've worked hard to make sure that if I have something, I start with the chairman, though, and I start with the governor. Like, there's no reason for me to go down a road if I know that the answer is no from all of these people. But I've had good luck working with the chairman, that when I have legislation and maybe they need it tweaked this way or that way, but I've had good luck with them. And but that is the first gatekeeper, and it is a gatekeeper. And then you have to pass through that committee. I start things on the Senate side. Once it gets to the Senate.
So it has to, so committee chair, and then the committee brings it for a vote, has to pass the committee before it goes to a vote on the full body, right, of the Senate, and then it goes over to the House. So there's a back and forth, right, just like in our federal government. So what legislation have you been passionate about?
When I started in the House, I did a lot on education, just because that was my background. I serve on the Transportation Committee now, and so I've been a little more distant from the education piece. I also serve on the Appropriations Committee, so I work on budgets of, I guess I do education through the education budgets, but that and general government. Some of the issues that I worked on was essentially things that mattered to my district, and I told them I'd go in and be a responsible leader, keep government limited, and remember Idaho values. And every piece of legislation, I looked through those lens. The 3 main pieces that I introduced was one on public safety and public encampments and homeless camping in cities. I did one on foster care, helping foster care and families, helping kids get to permanent care much quicker. And then I also did some work in the building code to help us build more houses. That's one of my constituents' biggest issues, is the price of housing. And so we looked at some free market solutions to how do we get houses and apartments built more
quickly
awesome. And efficiently.
All 3 of those?
Yeah.
Go into a little more depth.
Which one do you want to start with?
I don't know. You decide. The order you did them in.
Okay. I'll do first public camping. That was a huge one. We have been working in the city. We have our offices in downtown Boise, and we have been working with a group of business owners and residents that live in a kind of around Americana in the Shoreline District. I guess that probably doesn't mean much to many people, but we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years a huge rise in homeless encampments and families parking in their cars, and little kids sleeping in cars, little kids that should be in school out. And it's quite problematic for the people that are in the cars living in this way. It's certainly not compassionate to let people live that way. A lot of them are on drugs. They have mental illness. They're a danger. There's a big safety issue. They camp around the river and leave all kinds of stuff around this beautiful Boise River that we have. So we had a group of business owners that really worked on this for several years, trying to get some solutions and some better enforcement and some better options for these folks that need a lot of help. And we just kind of kept running into dead ends. And so we ran some legislation this year with a group of people that kind of had enough. There was a mom that moved out of the neighborhood because she'd had so many scary incidents with her little children. And the law essentially said that cities have to make sure that we clean up our streets, that we have places for people to go, and we don't let them camp and live on the streets. Those are public spaces, and there's an opportunity for our public to use those parks and streets, and we do not want to have people camping there. So that was the law essentially, and it's done great. We've seen lots of improvement in Boise.
What was the counter argument or pushback on it?
It's interesting. A lot of people, and the law didn't say how to do it. It just said, cities, you have to manage this. We don't want Boise becoming Portland.
Yeah.
We are stopping it right now. If you look at like our PIT counts, which are like how many people are experiencing homelessness here in Boise, the numbers are hard to like justify what's accurate and not accurate. But really, the people that were on the street kind of willfully doing this, choosing not to get help, it's less than 100 people probably, if you're not counting the people that are already in shelter or staying with families. So it's a very manageable problem. It's people that are willfully choosing to live this lifestyle and oftentimes bringing children into this lifestyle, which is like a deal breaker for me. So we knew it was manageable. Probably the biggest pushback was we should let these people do this. This is their choice. And I just kept saying, no, I am paying for that park. My taxpayers are paying, my tax dollars are paying for that road, and I don't want to step over poop and drug needles on the way to work. We're not doing that in Boise.
Yeah, and I think the strongest argument is if you look at the vacancy, like at the Boise Rescue Mission or anywhere around, there's beds available, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's the thing that I don't think people know. One, we have a tremendous community.
Absolutely, we really
the
do.
The nonprofit part of it and the profit. And I would say the work that's been done by the city, led by Mayor McLean, and I mean, we spend a lot of time and effort on homelessness. With that said, law enforcement and enforcing rules to keep people that don't want to comply with what's been provided to them, that's got to be part of it too, right?
Part of it. I love how you said it's part of it. We certainly, I think that was a complaint people thought, oh, you're just going to put all these people in jail. And no matter how many times I said, they've done this in other states, there were 6 arrests made out of 600 people. I mean, like, we're not criminalizing homelessness. We are just helping. This is a therapeutic push to get you some help. That was probably, people just were sure that we should let people continue to live this way. And I don't think it's compassionate, and I don't think it's good for them, and it's certainly not good for our city or the people that live there. So
yeah, it's been interesting. You have an office in Reno, and we're doing a lot of work in Reno, downtown Reno, and it's been eye-opening for me coming from Boise to go to Reno and see, well, just how they've got a lot of work to do. In a lot of ways, in a lot of areas. And it's really decades of work here that comes together to make it what it is. It's not for the faint of heart. It's not easy. These are complicated solutions that require complicated policy and answers. But, well, that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah. And, the nice thing about this issue, this is not a Republican or Democrat issue.
Yeah.
I was in San Francisco last week, and just briefly before we went up north, but they have done a tremendous job very quickly cleaning up what was happening in San Francisco.
Well, I think they did just when they had like leaders come, and then they were all right back, right?
No,
that's what I heard.
No, they have a new mayor in there, and I talked to lots of people. They are seeing major improvements.
They needed to.
In fact, I will tell you, they have their very first, I was just at a conference this summer, and someone from San Francisco, one of the homeless shelters, was speaking, and they said that they finally have approval for their very first drug-free homeless shelter ever to exist in San Francisco. Like, they have lots of shelters, but they are letting people just come in and use and abuse, and they have a different mentality there.
I think it's a great case study. If people don't know what happened, like in their Tenderloin district there, and how the residents, like, so they created basically a zone where everything was, free for all.
Yeah.
And
I don't want to live there.
And well, did you hear so it's interesting that their own residents within the Tenderloin district sued the government because they're like, why are you selective? And they won.
Yeah.
And so you have like this grassroots swell of people saying, it's not outsiders saying, it's insiders. It's people that live there, neighbors saying, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Your policies are crazy.
Yes, and we felt like Boise was shifting that way. We were not getting heard. We just felt like it was not being heard, but things have changed. I think we're on a good path forward. And like you say, we have such a generous community. This community in Boise, Idaho wants to help people. They want to make a difference in lives.
Listen, we have the greatest community. I promise you. It's like, I went to the WCA breakfast 2 days ago.
Oh.
Huh.
Saints over there.
Oh my goodness. I mean, the work that they do, Be Black, she's retiring this year, but I think 17 years of service, an incredible organization, and they went through the data and the number of people that they help, and then the stories. Oh, you sitting there bawling on at your table, like hard crying, looking around, just like, we need to do more of this. You look at WCA, you look at Boise Rescue Mission, all the different other organizations, safety net organizations we have an incredible community.
We do. And they will, when we again partner and put things together to this complex solution, there's got to be housing, there's got to be help, there's got to be money, there has to be laws, there has to be consequences. When you put all those things together, I think actually you're going to have a more generous community because people are excited about seeing people change their lives, and they want to donate to a shelter that's putting in job training and preschools for the little kids and outdoor spaces.
It's kind of like, hey, you do your part, and then we'll do our part to help, right? And you got to have both sides of it. Again, I'm very, very proud of what we've done here, and I think you've hit the nail on the head with that. That's great. Yeah. What was your second one?
Second was foster care, I think.
Oh.
This was this was great legislation. Someone in my neighborhood brought it to me. It was a lovely foster mom, and she called me and she said, I've never talked to a legislator before, but you're my neighbor, and do you know what's happening in the system? And I said, no, I didn't. I don't know. Foster care has not been, I don't know much about it. And she told me, and I said, all right, well, okay, I'll help you. Will you go find where it's working? Go see what states, talk to your network, do some research, find out what state is doing this right, and then let's fix it. And she did, to her credit, which is nice because, again, we have no staff, we have no time. So I was grateful for her help in it. And she brought back several different test kind of markets where they'd done it in other states.
Hey, by the way, that shows a lot of wisdom there, Senator, to say to someone, because there's a lot of people that just complain.
Yeah.
But it's a very proactive thing to say, hey, that's great. What are your suggestions for improvement? Because as I get older, I get tired of people that just complain, and then you sit there listening. Okay, it's not working, but what would you like to do? But the fact that you said, hey, tell me, what are the solutions? That's very great. And
good, because she would know better than me the solutions.
Sure.
I don't profess to be an expert in foster care, but she brought solutions. We sat. I met with Alex Adams and Department of Health and Welfare. I went and talked to the judges and all the people that are kind of stakeholders that have to deal with that. And in the end, we got a really good solution that increases the timeline between appointments where their cases are heard. So instead of like a mom that's trying to get her kids back, only seeing the judge or only being evaluated every 6 months, we brought those down to 2 months. So they have to kind of return and report a little bit more quickly, and changed some of the laws so that, let's say a kiddo has been in foster care for several years with a family, and then we decide to get permanent location. That relationship that's with that foster family, it plays into the decision that the judge makes. Wow. In addition to what other options might have, there might be housing options for the kiddos. So it's really a very kid and family first. It helps these kids get into a permanent situation quicker, in a more timely manner, and the right situation.
Amazing.
So, yeah. We can thank my constituent. She did awesome on it.
Amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
What's your third one?
Third was building, housing. That when I knocked to doors on people, there were 3 issues. They always want lower taxes. Immigration was a big one, and then the third one was housing. Help me with housing. It's so expensive. So I I'm a business person. I like free markets. I like limited government. So I didn't want to like come up with the plan to have government come in and save the day and build the big apartment downtown for the people that need it. But I wanted to look at ways we could make it more affordable so that developers and businesses and homeowners, home builders could build housing that was more affordable. And so I went to them and I said, what regulation is stopping you? What's slowing you down? Time is money in building. And there were two different bills, but one dealt with re-inspections. So when you're waiting for re-inspection, if you've missed in a permitting, allows you to do a video re-inspection. And that is especially helpful in our rural communities, but it helps get the inspector out a lot faster than having to wait 3 weeks for the inspector to come back out. And then the other one had to do with permits. And I had a lot of builders saying what happens is we submit an application to get a permit to build, and they have it for a long time. And then they send it back and say, oh, you forgot to dot your I or cross your T, or there's some little thing missing. And they have to start all over. And again, time is money. This is a delay.
It's a nightmare.
This is
I don't know. Like I didn't know you passed this legislation, but we're doing a project downtown Boise right now. And honestly, the horror stories of, because what happens, so people understand this, you submit a permit and it can take 3 months.
Yeah.
For them to review the permit. And that's when they go through your plans. I mean, it's a full set of plans.
Yeah.
And they look for safety and code compliance and everything else. So they've already scrubbed it. Then you start having an inspector come out to look at your project. And then they oftentimes will change or rewrite what they just reviewed. In fact, this is really funny. Tom Sr., my dad, this happened last week. We were having this discussion about it, and he was just losing his stuff. He's old school. So he was down with one of the inspectors of Boise, and he said, I really like the guy. But he said, hey, I got an idea. If you're the guy that's going to change everything, why don't we just take you and put you in that first room? Because if you catch everything the first time, just imagine how much time, money, and effort you're going to... We just got the wrong guy in that first room. And it really stopped the guy in his tracks. He's like, yeah, that probably would be good, but I don't want to be in that first room. But the point is, like at some point, your inefficiency and your lack of professionalism affects everything downstream, which is time and money and effort. And all that just gets passed on.
And expensive. It's so expensive to wait.
And at the same time, you can't sit here and say you care about housing prices. You can't. Yeah. You cannot utter those words. Anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm with you. And I heard from someone else. I actually went and talked to like a small home builder. Yeah. That's who gave me the idea and said, hey, there were a couple of people that weighed in on it. But I went to people constituents and campaign donors, people that knew more about the building process than me, and said, how do I make this more, how do we make sure that we can get more houses? I know we just need more supply. How do we get more roofs? We've got people that need them. So,
well, the way cities work, it's probably going to take state legislation, honestly, because I think cities, I don't know. I've been frustrated recently just in general, because if you look at our valley at a time when we need housing, I mean, everyone I have come on here talks about housing. Everyone knows it's the biggest thing.
Yes.
And everyone says, hey, we're going to fix it. And yet you actually look at the processes that happen in every single jurisdiction in this valley right now. They are exponentially worse, harder, more difficult, more regulations, more nonsense than you can imagine today. And it only gets worse every year. So maybe at some point the state does have to say, hey, we're going to streamline these for our people because you guys can't get out of your own way. I don't know. I don't know.
There's an article written on that, actually, and I'm not an expert on it, so I won't say much, but that is one of the biggest challenges, is the different jurisdictions. And to jump back to another topic, that's kind of what Utah did with their continuum of care I'm going to lose my headphones there. With their continuum of care, helping with the homeless, there were just so many different pieces that weren't working well together. And so the state of Utah just came in and they took over the entire, they just took it over. So if the problems continue, sometimes it's just inefficiencies with different, and that makes it difficult. So I don't know.
Well, and I got to believe that no one, I don't know. because sometimes I honestly sometimes I think, what am I missing, right? Is there something I'm missing, right? Because
Yeah.
we're always good at looking at everyone else saying, oh, you're the problem, you're the problem. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm the problem. But you look at some of these people that that I think care about our community. I think they get it. I think they understand it. And you would think that they should be incentivized to making it better, right? They'll say the right things. So then where's the disconnect between what they say in their hearts, which I think are in the right place, and their actions in running something? Is it just inefficiency? Is it, I mean, what is it? Because I don't think it's intentional. I got to believe in my American heart and soul
Yeah.
that it's not intentional, but it certainly causes all this. It's part of it is part of the problem.
Well, I can give you an example from a builder that I heard, and I think you're right. They want what's best. It's just what's best is different. I'm looking at the individual constituent that wants a house. They're looking at,
Why aren't they looking at the same thing?
well, okay, let me see how much if I can recall and say correctly. I was talking with a builder who was trying to get a project approved. He wanted a certain amount of parking spaces for row of condos, something. I mean, it was a small development. The city of Boise kept saying, no, we don't need that many, you don't need that many parking spaces now. I'm not a fan. Like, I think the builder, the business owner, probably does a better job figuring out how many parking spaces that they need. And if they're willing to pay for them, that's the problem. But they were trying to cut down the parking spaces. And I think what was happening is probably what they care more about is fewer cars, fewer emissions. That's what they're looking at.
I don't know, because I'll give you 100 different examples.
Listen,
We're doing a building out in the middle of the desert. We're having to saw through. It's south of the airport. No one's even going to see this building, and the owner of the building wants the parking on the other side of the building for safety, because the big trucks go back in this way, and they have an ordinance that says the building needs to be up against the property line for street curb appearance. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? We had to go do it. It delayed the project by months. That's one. Two, the electric vehicle deal is just crazy right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You can drive around any of our buildings and go look how many electric vehicles are parked during a day when people are coming to
in
an
the
office.
good spots.
They're none, or they're parked illegally, or it's one of the guys that work for me that's got their Raptor with the thing plugged in just so they can park illegally. But like, there's those examples of like, you're not in touch with what, and it may make you feel good about, maybe it's some, I don't know.
They just seem to, that matters more. To me, I want people to have a house. That's part of the American dream. That matters to me. They're better members of their community. I want them to invest in their home. It's a good investment. That's what matters to me. But I think sometimes you'll have another priority, and whether that's it's climate or cars or things like that. And so it just gets ahead of what the people need. And I'm all for like.
So that's okay, and I like all that. But then you can't say that housing is your priority.
Right. Yeah.
That's where it breaks down. Right. You can say a lot of other things, but you can't, because we need all sorts of housing. We need more multifamily. We need more condos. We need more starter homes. We need more mid-level homes. We need everything. We need inventory. Yes. And that will drop the price. I mean, if you just look at the valley in the last 2 years on apartments, I just had just talking to Clay Anderson, who's a really good friend of mine who tracks this, and the free market, right? I mean, we had
supply demand,
an oversupply, and all of a sudden there were all these concessions, and now we have a vacancy. It's about 90% occupancy right now, and prices are down, right? It happened right under everyone's nose in the multifamily segment of the market. That's how this thing works.
Yep.
And government does control that pipeline. They control that pipeline. Whether they like to think I mean, free market, there's forces, but they control what goes through that. Definitely. They control it based on how many utilities they deliver. The city of Boise decides where to take sewer to and how they're going to do annexation. That is them, and what goes where and what the city codes are. And so because you do, and same thing with Meridian. And then the other thing we've got is so many people moving here from out of state that once they're here, they're just like, hey, I don't want anything. It doesn't matter who designed it or what it is. We don't want anything. We've got, that only causes pricing to go up. And if you move here from California, you can buy $1 million home. That's great. If you're from here and you're trying to buy your first home, it's not so great.
Yeah. Yep. It's it's very important. It's important to everyone. And I heard someone say the other day, well, it's only important to the people that are buying the house. But I'm not buying a house now, but I have a kiddo that's well, I shouldn't call him a kiddo because he's an adult and he's graduated, but he's buying his first house. He's 23. He's from Boise. He had to go out to Nampa and buy an older home, and he's going to make it work. But
I mean, I've heard the same thing. But,
I care about that. I care.
But yeah, you could say that about every single issue there is. Oh, it's only important to the person that drives on that road.
Nope.
It's only important to that person that goes and gets their health care there. It's only that person that turns on their lights at 6 a.m. I mean, what kind of garbage is that? That's someone that's like come here from California that's saying that. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I think it matters.
Matters.
I want the people in Idaho to be able to come home after college or stay here, get a job, and live in the town that they love. It's so much better. I mean, my husband and I grew up here, and every day we see people that we know, and whether they taught us in church when we were young or was the baseball coach or those kind of things. It's just a great community. It builds strong communities if you can keep your kids around.
It's a great community. What are you looking forward to in this session coming up?
Good question. A little bit more on the public safety stuff. I'm going to kind of, I'm working on the other side of it's back about housing and public safety and homeless is how do we help our people who are exiting prison, and how do we help them more effectively enter society through training and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that those people don't become homeless. We're going to try to solve the back end of where some of the problem is.
Yeah, I've recently, over the last 2 years, become, when I ran for governor, I dug into this a little bit, but through kind of personal experience, seeing how that goes, man, the deck is stacked against people coming out. Let me just tell you, for whatever they're coming out for, it is stacked against you.
It is, and the sad thing is there's a small window of opportunity if you can grab them. My husband and I just had a gentleman over for dinner and family, and he's recently out of prison, I guess, and he is really trying to change his life right now. He is got a job. He's saving money he's living in a halfway house, but he's about to get out, and the wife they're trying their best right now. And if there's enough people cheering and mentoring and helping him, that changes his life, and it changes the 3 little kids that are that he's responsible for. So
it's really, really awesome. I have a good friend. His name's Dwayne Sessions, and he's like one of the executives for Dennis Dillon.
Oh, okay.
And they hire a lot of people that are straight out. That's part of their program. So I went to lunch with him last month and just said, tell me why you do it, how you do it, what are your challenges, what are your opportunities? And I just wanted to listen to what he had to say. He's been doing it for 20 years.
Wow.
But I'm really excited. I think, trying to help other companies in this time where we have employment shortages,
labor,
the value of having a job and someone that's going through one of these programs and really trying to redefine their life and saying, hey, I'm ready, I'm here. I'm here to work. I'm here to figure it out. Anyway, it was awesome. He brought a guy with him that, man, I was like chills the whole lunch because he's one of his leaders over there now. And so we need more of that. That's awesome. That's great.
We do. People and it can be done. The deck is stacked against them, but there's a small moment of opportunity. And if we can catch them in that moment when they come out and they're fresh and they're ready and they've changed and they're clean, we can change lives. And then they don't end up homeless. They're not camping in their car. Their kids are going to school. All of these things happen. So looking forward to that.
Well, Codi, you're awesome. This is great. This has been fun to have you on. I hope everyone that listens to this can, get to know you and support you and look forward to watching you lead and helping in any way we can. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.